Welcome in. It is Pro Football Today right here on SportsGrid. I'm Kevin Walsh. I'm joined by Donnie Rightside and Joe Lisi as we get set for the full Sunday slate here in week number 4 of NFL action. So many big games and a lot of teams that have a lot on the line. We saw that play out even Thursday, Joe. Dallas needed it, and they got it in division against the Giants.
Yeah, gutty win, right? Didn't come in regards to without losses, right? Micah Parsons with the ankle injury. We saw DeMarcus Lawrence limp off as well, along with Trayvon Diggs, but they grinded out the victory. Wasn't pretty, Kev. Dak Prescott in the first half, very consistent and successful. Donnie C.D. Lamb got involved in regards to that offense. It didn't matter that they didn't cover that game. They got a divisional win, and that's the most important fact.
That is the only thing that matters at this point. You're not playing for style points. You need to get back up into the top 5 to make a shot at maybe a playoff run at this point. You just have to stack up wins, which they were able to do on the road. And I don't want to say it's like a salvaging win and you were really impressed with the Dallas Cowboys, but at the end of the day, they won, and that's all that matters.
Primetime performances, and on Thursday, of course, we were in action. We were also with you live for a Monday doubleheader where we saw Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen in their respective games for their respective teams have incredible nights. I believe both ended up winning Offensive Player of the Week for their respective conferences, and both play big games today, especially Josh Allen Sunday night in Baltimore. The Ravens, back-to-back weeks, present our game of the day. They went to Dallas and got a massive one, avoided an 0-3 start, and now you get last year's league MVP, Donnie, against the current co-MVP favorite in Josh Allen.
I can't wait to watch it play out. You know, we were just talking about how many yards per play these two teams actually have, two of the more impressive offenses, and also quarterbacks that you can put everything on their shoulders. They tend to handle their business. You look at that 46.5 price, I think we get some points in that, but more importantly, if we go to 4-0 for the Buffalo Bills after another big win, which goes against the Baltimore Ravens, man, watch out.
Yeah, absolutely, Donnie. And we talked about it entering this year. You know, the expectation for Buffalo was potentially maybe best team in the AFC East and a divisional contender from the championship perspective, plus 950. But I don't think anybody expected them to potentially be the best team in the conference, right? If they move to 4-0 and how they've done it, right, with multiple players, James Cook on the ground, Dalton Kincaid getting involved. And when you have Josh Allen throwing for 264 yards, 4 touchdowns, and not turning the football over, Kev, that is the most important factor. Josh Allen playing at an elite level.
And again, it's not to discredit Buffalo. Yeah. Easily their toughest game so far this season is tonight against the Baltimore Ravens. All right, Josh Allen, again, the MVP favorite. Actually, just created some separation against Mahomes. Jaden Daniels, your offensive rookie of the year favorite. But incredibly for this Washington team, all of a sudden, Lisi, it's not just about Jaden Daniels winning some hardware. It's about trying to make a playoff push, maybe stealing the NFC East. A dog in Arizona today, but I'm sure a lot of people think they could be barking.
I think they can be barking as well. And when you have a quarterback that completes 89% of his passes, 21-23, over 250 yards, game on the line, finds Terry McLaurin, that gets the touchdown catch. Terry McLaurin's been an added factor in regards to this offense. 4 receptions last week, 100 yards, the big touchdown, Donnie. Mm-hmm. That's what you want to see. And I told you off camera, they haven't punted since game 1 in the fourth quarter against Tampa Bay. When you're sustaining drives and getting points, that puts pressure on opposing offenses.
He's been absolutely tremendous. A rookie quarterback coming into the NFL. Think about this, guys. A primetime game on Monday night with basically Cincinnati's season on the line, and the better quarterback was Jaden Daniels, and he's young, and now you're going on the road. Here's what we're going to find out, because you're going to read those press clippings. It's just what you do as a football team, or particularly a younger player. How do they perform today in the desert? If they go out there and wind up 3-1, they're a playoff team in my eyes already. Quarter pole in, it looks good, Kev. Come on. Come on.
Do they end the season after 4
Why not? Put him in, Joe.
I love it. I love the fact that he's buying in. I love it.
Again, they'll lose today, and Donnie be like, fraudulent, 2-2, defense is a
just trying to be nice to Joe Lisi. Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
I think, though, Donnie actually hits on something that we also today will dive into, is buying into the unbeaten group. Yep. Buffalo, Kansas City. Okay, everybody buys in. You buy in at Super Bowl level? That's more the question. Seattle, Minnesota, Pittsburgh. These were not teams projected to sit 3-0. And if you look we have some interesting spots for these teams. Seattle will handle on Monday night. Pittsburgh, a short road favorite against the Indianapolis Colts. And the Minnesota Vikings, Donnie, who, I mean, again, I guess if the Commanders are a win away from booking a playoff ticket, Vikings a win away for you from booking a Super Bowl ticket?
It's one of those, because, again, when we take a look at the NFC North coming into the season, watch out for that team with the Packers, and, look at all the hype that we're going to get from the Chicago Bears, and watch out now, Detroit, if they made some shrewd moves with their head coach in the playoffs, probably would have played for a Super Bowl. And now we're talking about, Joe, the Minnesota Vikings. You want to talk about a complete team. Forget about the offense, which I know it's hard to do. They've been very good through 3 games. One of the best wide receivers in football. Sam Darnold has been spectacular, to say the least. The defense, Joe, they are eating out there.
Absolutely. And to Donnie's point, held Houston, Kevin, 2.7 yards per carry last week. I mean, they're only giving up 74 rushing yards to opposing offenses. When you could shut down the run, you're forcing long third down situations. They're getting quarterback pressures. They're getting turnovers in regards to the back end. And that's a recipe to potentially strike the upset today as a 3-point dog against Green Bay. Not going to be easy in regards to that matchup, especially if Jordan Love does play. But, again, I love the defense for Minnesota. Are they as good as some of the other teams that you mentioned in regards to the AFC? I don't believe so. But that defense can carry them to definitely the divisional round.
I think the big thing for the Vikings is, and look, it's early, right? We don't know maybe how impressive sample sizes are until we get more of a sample size. They play the Niners and the Texans. At home, okay, those are great performances that they were able to put up, ultimately grabbing those victories there. You mentioned, though, the big part of that game is Jordan Love returns for a Green Bay Packers team who lose in Brazil on opening night. Jordan Love goes down, and all of a sudden it's, the season's lost. 5-6 weeks. We're not going to see this kid. Malik Willis has started. We thought Ryan Tannehill was going to have to put on the cape. Everything that's played out for Green Bay is unbelievable. 2-0 with Malik Willis. He looks good. And Jordan Love is already back. Now, I know the Pro Football Doc is going to tell us that this is exactly his expected timeline, which is why the guys at Six Score do an incredible job. But the national beat reporter's initial diagnosis, Donnie, was, I thought, much longer for Jordan Love. All of a sudden, we look at the NFC North. Again, Vikings 3-0, legit. We know the Lions are there. And here are the Green Bay Packers at 2-1 with plenty of preseason expectations. This is a loaded division right now. The Bears are sitting there, understandably 1-2, not as good. Even they're booked as favorites today.
Yeah, it's going to be a wild one to watch. And also keep in mind, again, if I was commissioner of the NFL, we're fining Green Bay millions of dollars. I mean, last week they told you Jordan Love was going to play. I told you he wasn't. Now, late in the week, it's like, hey, Jordan Love looks really good, but we might have packages available for Malik Willis in this game. Stop it. Jordan Love's going to play this game. And by the way, did you know, 8 out of every 10 tickets coming in on the road team Minnesota Vikings in Lambeau. This is going to be a showdown. I can't wait to watch. Aaron Jones come. Now, look. Revenge touchdown. He said he's going to jump in and do the Lambeau leap.
No, he had 102 yards last week. A catalyst for that offense. A great free agent pickup for Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings. But to Donnie's point and yours, Kev, about Green Bay, Matt LaFleur doesn't get enough credit, right? I mean, he's gotten the most out of Malik Willis. Didn't have a touchdown pass in his career. Got that a couple of weeks ago. We've seen them running the football with Malik Willis and Josh Jacobs, and they're a balanced offense. And that, they might be a little bit more complete now with Jordan Love out of that offense. They've gotten other playmakers involved, and they have RPO packages for Malik Willis that they can utilize not just in this game, moving forward.
Keying in a little bit on the NFC North, today you have some big games involving the NFC South. The Eagles will be going to Tampa Bay with a lot of injuries in that game. And then you get Atlanta against New Orleans, the preseason favorites to win the South, and the Falcons, and the new favorites in the New Orleans Saints to win that division, with injuries dictating a lot of that matchup as well. But we go to Baltimore. The Sunday Nighter is a big one. We break it down in full next.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Don?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's get after it here. Pro Football Today, a monster game tonight in Baltimore. The Ravens host the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo, with a win, very well could find themselves positioned as AFC favorites. The Ravens right now, with their win against Dallas, I don't know if saved the season is too strong, but now they're still favorites to win the AFC North. Cincinnati not handling business. They're favored to win this football game, and it feels like the conferences, the usual suspects with Baltimore, Buffalo, and Kansas City looking like the best teams overall. But if you are the Ravens as a 2.5-point home favorite, total now 46.5, Lisi, it feels like if you want to solidify, again, your spot as one of the true Super Bowl contenders, you got to protect home field tonight.
Absolutely. You have to get Derrick Henry back involved. We saw him break out with a huge performance, 151 yards on the ground. Slowly, they've implemented him in regards to the receiving game, 23 yards on one reception. If they could do that, you get that defense running sideline to sideline, and then you could utilize the rushing attack, and you could utilize Lamar on the perimeter. So we'll see how this plays out. And if you get up, do not get complacent. Be aggressive. Look to close this game out. Just because you have a fourth-quarter lead the way they did against Las Vegas, you cannot get inconsistent, and that's the biggest thing tonight if they jump up early, Donnie.
Yeah, Baltimore 1-2, again, 6.6 yards per play this season, which is fantastic. But also, you know what's interesting about their 1-2 record? Like, they go on the road to Kansas City. Okay, they lost that game. You figured they would have an easy victory at home, but they didn't get that easy victory against Vegas. Then they go on the road against the Dallas Cowboys, and they pick up the victory. So whatever if I would have told you they would have lost game 1, won game 2, lost game 3. Okay, 1-2, not so bad. It just got heightened with that 0-2 start. But I thought they were really good against the Dallas Cowboys overall. I need more out of Zay Flowers. I need more out of the passing game. Joe, I understand how good Derrick Henry is. And yes, the formality of this football team is we want to be fast, but we want to be physical, and we want to run the ball. They did that with Derrick Henry, and as I told you already, love him to score an anytime touchdown. But if I'm getting to the passing game, I don't think we can just run the football today and beat the Buffalo Bills.
No, he has to get over his prop today. 204.5 is Lamar's passing prop. And to Donnie's point, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, even Andrews and Likely, they have to be more consistent with the passing attack as well. That could open up the rushing game as well. I'm not saying go away from the run, but be more aggressive, especially against that Buffalo defense.
I will just say, though, Lamar, game number 1 through 273 through the air. Game number 2 gets to 247. The only reason he was at 182, he only threw the ball 15 times. They didn't need to throw the ball anymore. I mean, that game was a complete runaway. And down the back stretch there, it wasn't even like, oh, they got conservative. Dallas started to control the possession. They got an onside kick that went back their way. So I would just say I think the Ravens have been solid in either area offensively here. I think the questions come tonight on the Ravens defensively, who have allowed big passing totals in all 3 of their football games so far, and go up against Josh Allen, who is the rightful current MVP favorite, who is playing the best football maybe of his career, and certainly the cleanest football of his career. Josh Allen throwing an interception, you could set your watch to. Josh Allen going consecutive games without an interception was an absolute rarity. He hasn't thrown a pick yet this season. Books are expecting one tonight. Minus 140 is a strong number for a guy who hasn't turned it over yet this season. And that's, I think, one of the really big things to watch. Again, not discrediting what Buffalo has done. But this is a huge game. This is Sunday night. This is the Baltimore Ravens, the reigning number 1 seed in this conference. How does Josh play? Even if it's a loss, but do we get those 2 interception games from Josh Allen again where we go, all right, maybe the protection we saw was a little bit fluky. One thing I'm expecting is Dalton Kincaid to break through his 38.5 total. The tight ends have really performed well this season against the Ravens. 90 for Brock Bowers and well as Jake Ferguson in consecutive weeks against this defense. I still think when it's all said and done, Kincaid is the top guy for Josh Allen. I'm playing him over his 38.5.
It's a good look. I look to Keon Coleman to get more involved, and I'll get involved. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But to your point about, throwing interceptions, the biggest change I see Josh Allen, he's distributing the football to multiple receivers. Shakir's gotten involved. Ty Johnson when he's in there. James Cook, Kincaid, a little Dawson Knox. It hasn't been, elite wide receivers, but it shows that he's poised, he's confident, and he's going through his reads and progressions, and that's why he's limiting turnovers. He actually might be a better quarterback without Stephon Diggs in that lineup because he has to look for secondary receivers, Donnie, and that's what you're seeing through the first 3 weeks.
Just hit the nail on the head. I was going to bring up that same point, and I'm glad you went down that path because sometimes you're saying, I have to force-feed this guy even if it's not the right read, but I just have to keep him in the game because at halftime he might spike his helmet and tell me he's going home with his own football. So now you're looking to make those read progressions, and it makes sense. But also, who's been looking phenomenal on this team? James Cook. And that helps your quarterback out. If you can get those easy yards running and also receiving out of the backfield, it only helps at this point. I want to see how aggressive the Buffalo Bills will be tonight. I want to see if they face adversity. You might say, look at those first 3 games, not much adversity. Did you watch game number 1, down 2 touchdowns to the Arizona Cardinals? Outside of that first half, they've been flawless in their game planning, Kevin.
That is the thing. You're looking at now a 10-quarter run where they have dominated everybody in front of them. I'll say, I agree that Baltimore tonight is in a good spot at home, maybe exercise a little bit of the demons and holding on against Dallas here. But I don't think that there's a lot of value necessarily on the Ravens. And in fact, if this got to 3, I might consider betting Buffalo, where they have looked a little bit better than Baltimore here. I think the number's fine. I do lean towards the under on this total, thinking that the Ravens will still choose the run over the pass because the way it worked against Dallas, Derrick Henry is starting to live up to the billing that they were expecting. And, Lamar talked about losing weight in the offseason. He's been incredible on the ground, smashing through props and looking incredibly efficient doing it.
Absolutely, and when you do that, the clock runs and no incompletions. They've been both efficient quarterbacks right now, so that would lean to the under. I'm with Donnie, though. I just think both offenses want to be a little bit more aggressive. We'll see how this plays out. If it does dip from an in-game perspective in the low 40s, that might be an opportunity to jump in.
I think both of these quarterbacks are going to be fantastic tonight, both with their arms and legs. You look at that total and you say, it's 46.5, sounds about right. No reason to believe both these teams aren't in the 20s tonight. We are expecting a fantastic game. Can't wait to watch it play out.
We're going to take this game and turn it into the AFC outright market. Who is the best team in this conference and where is the value? We'll answer that on the other side. It's Pro Football Today on SportsGrid.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Don?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
We're back right here, and it is Pro Football Today. Bills-Ravens tonight, we know, is going to impact the AFC markets, and I think it's a good time for us to take a look at not just the conference as a whole, but even diving in division by division. And so far, 3 of these 4 divisions in the AFC have minus money favorites of minus 180 or greater. That's the price on Buffalo, minus 230 for Houston, and the Chiefs check in at a whopping minus 750. Baltimore right now is plus 130. The 3-0 Steelers are the second option there. Let me take these 3 minus money favorites here and ask you guys where maybe if you think there is any value in fading them, maybe you think one of these teams should be a bigger favorite. When you look at the division favorites right now, Lisi, of the South, the North, and the South, East and West, what really catches your eye?
Well, I would say the South because of how Houston looked last week. Is this going to be a sophomore jinx the way we saw in regards to Jacksonville a couple years ago where they win the playoff game and then they start out 8-3 and then they lose, 5 games down the stretch? Is that going to be a similar situation? I need to see that defense with D'Amico Ryan step up. Close it back out today against Jacksonville. Big picture, we know C.J. Stroud is one of the better quarterbacks in the AFC, but if the defense starts to slip, Donnie, that would be where I'd be concerned out of the 3 front runners.
Yeah, the one interesting part about the Houston Texans is, because coming into the season, I had a lot of high vibes for them. I thought C.J. Stroud would be a very good quarterback, just like he was last year. Maybe take it to the next level, Joe, and be an MVP candidate. They got hammered last week, but also under the guise of, that's no big deal. They play Jacksonville at home. They should get right back. It wasn't as like they lost 34-31 last week. They got hammered. C.J. Stroud got benched on the final drive of the game. I'm interested to see if they deserve to be that price point at a minus 230. But I got to be honest. And it's me coming into the season handicapping and going I don't care who the Chiefs have as long as it's Patrick Mahomes. I love to second guess myself. They're 3-0 right now. They should be in the lead. But a minus 750 price with all of those injuries going up against a game today, Joe, 2-1, the Chargers. If the Chargers beat them, the Chargers technically are in first place. Why is that minus 750? We don't believe in the Chargers?
Well, I think because of the injury concerns about Herbert and the weapons that he has on the outside as well, right? I mean, Johnston is a good wide receiver. He's not elite. We put him at the same level of where Keenan Allen and Mike Williams were when they were healthy, and they've done it with a rushing attack right now. Sort of ugly winning games.
I think, Donnie, it's a good point you bring up, but I think you answered your own question. Yeah. If the Chiefs win today, a touchdown favorite, they're 4-0. LA's down to 2-2. Raiders are dogs today, and so are the Denver Broncos. Again, not that upsets can't be had, but if Kansas City wins today and goes like minus 1,800, it would be like, all right, well, I don't really understand what was the point of this minus 750 there. I'll bring up Buffalo, and some of it is to do with them. But I know I'm on a Jets island here, at least relative to Lisi, but just work with me here.
Sure.
Next 3 games, each of these two teams, Buffalo, what I think is maybe the hardest 3-game stretch anyone's had all season. At Baltimore, at Houston, at New York, those Jets. Very well could be dogs in all of those games. The New York Jets today host Denver. They lay 8. They follow that up by playing Minnesota in London. They'll be favored in the game. Not run away. I'm not saying they're going to be laying 100. They'll be favored in the game. And they will be favored against Buffalo at home. Bills playing their 3rd consecutive road game here. My point is, the Jets were preseason favorites to win this division, Donnie, and I know you were on them.
Yes.
The world where these teams have the same record after 6 weeks would be very reasonable to me. And at that point, wouldn't they shift back to the Jets as the favorites because that's who the preseason favorite was?
Yeah, we're just waiting for that explosive moment for the Jets because they're not getting credit for going on the road and beating Tennessee. They're not getting credit for beating New England. It seems like everybody goes, like, well, I watched Monday Night Football to open the season. They looked bad. They're a good team, and I'm with Kevin. I like the Bills early in the preseason, but before we got to outside of training camp and the final preseason games, I switched over to the New York Jets here. The question's going to be the same thing I brought up this week, too, multiple times. Like, Josh Allen, like, are you going to take, like, if you had to take the Buffalo Bills at minus 180 this week, I'd say, you know what? If I think they're going to win the division, I'm waiting 3 weeks. I hope they lose 2 football games. Then I jump back in them because it gets a little bit easier because that schedule opening up is very tough. But I think Kevin's good point here. The minus 180, I'm not running to the window and saying, I love the Buffalo Bills. They're 3-0 right now. They could be 4-0 tonight. But again, they beat the Baltimore Ravens tonight. You're looking at that number going from a minus 180 probably to a minus 200.
Yeah, you are. And I'll just say the Jets are the only team in the division that you could look at to potentially challenge from the quarterback perspective, right? Have a Super Bowl champion. You have an MVP candidate in Aaron Rodgers. Miami has nothing right now with Tua being on the sidelines, and we know New England. So it's not a bad look out of that group.
And again, just to give the conference a perspective, I think the 5 top teams in that conference, Chiefs, Bills, Ravens, Texans, and the Jets, are all easily top 10 teams in the league. The team with the 6th best price, the Cincinnati Bengals, who are currently 0-3. There is a comfortable drop-off. Let's get to some of the games involving these big teams next on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
All right, let's get into it. Kevin Walsh, Donnie Rightside, Joe Lisi. We begin in L.A., the Chargers and the Chiefs. I got to tell you, fellas, one of the funnier games. There's a couple sides I like today, a couple dog spots that I'm really excited about, and I thought the Chargers would be one of them. Again, it's the Chiefs. They're laying 7. I mean, how many times do we have to see
this? It's actually 7.5 across the board now.
Oh, really?
So, more money's come. This game is baffling to me, and I can't wait to get into it. So
that's great. Yeah. I can't wait to hear where you're at on this. Again, if you've watched the Chiefs this or any year,
yes,
you know to bet the Chargers in this spot. The thing is, I will trade you Herbert for the 2 tackles. I would much rather Easton Stick as quarterback and get me Slater and Alt back on this offensive line, and I'll bet L.A. For what the Chargers want to be, I actually think losing both of their tackles is more damaging than if they would be without Justin Herbert. I worry about Kansas City winning this football game 17-6 and finding a way to ugly cover this game because the Chargers' injuries entering this one for me with the tackles are really concerning. I'm not on the side here. Again, of course I lean Chargers, but what do you make of this now 7.5-point spread?
It's funny because it's one of those lines that you look at and say, again, I always preface this, guys, by, look, Vegas doesn't just make up numbers. Like, hey, it sounds good at 7. Let's just throw it out there and see what happens. That's the true number here. And, yes, they're banged up, but it just feels like the old Chargers would fold in this spot. We just can't compete. Staley's our head coach. We're going on 4th and 2 in our own territory here for no reason. And I look at this and say, okay, what is Jim Harbaugh going to do? He's not throwing his hands up at this point. He's probably telling those guys we got him right where we want him at this point. So I just don't know why it's 7.5. And to Kevin's point, like if you just know the Kansas City Chiefs, and even the Chiefs, Joe, at their height of powers, with Tyreek Hill and the boys running up and down the field, it always seems like you get these games and say, Chargers are up 3 with 4 minutes to go. I hope they drive the length of the field and score a touchdown, even though they don't need to at this point.
Yeah, it's a similar line to what we saw in regards to just like last week with the 7.5 with Washington, right? Why are they hanging it? They're going to get crushed, and somehow, some way, Washington wins the ball game outright. But to Donnie's point, I'll say this in regards to just playing the Chiefs. Jim Harbaugh, this is the way you tell how far they've come from Brandon Staley to Jim Harbaugh because they are banged up, right? Can they compete? Can they make this a 4-quarter game? And you're right, Kev. Both tackles are out. The way that Jim Harbaugh wants to run this game, controlled attack, run the football, stay in manageable situations, the way he did last week against Pittsburgh. They were in that matchup. They were dictating the tempo. They had a 10-7 lead, and then all of a sudden, once Herbert went down, they let it slip, right? If Herbert's not 100%, that's always an issue. And we're seeing his number drop. From the time I came in, it was 196.5. It's down to 187.5. So obviously he might not be 100%, or people just think that he's not going to be effective. I would take the points over the key number now, 7.5. Again, I think the Chiefs can win, but I think Harbaugh will keep them close. Like, forget all the games that have happened right now. This is the one in the division with the Super Bowl champs. Let's see how good we are right here, right now. Give it everything you have.
But my thing is, like, if they get smashed in this game, is that a huge indict? Here's the thing. Herbert's playing. He's not healthy. He played last week against Pittsburgh. I know you watched the game with the total.
Right.
You had us dead to rights, by the way, right? We were laughing about his passing number at the break. I think he had $125. He sailed through it. He left injured.
Right.
Herbert leaves injured. Are we shocked in this game? I was going to bet his passing prop over, but I know better. He might get it, but it's not worth it because if he leaves injured in this game, that's on me. That's kind of my thing. I don't think this is now, if the Chargers win this game outright, hand Harbaugh Coach of the Year. I mean, that would be crazy.
Would you be shocked if it's a high-scoring game? Like what?
Yes.
Yeah, like if it's in the 20s, like 28-24, they pull it out.
Yeah, that would be really surprising. But, maybe that's the Zag special here that sometimes comes in. I'll tell you a game I think will be really high-scoring, Houston and Jacksonville. I love this over at 44.5. The Texans, early in this week, were looking as a touchdown favorite against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Money has come in on the Jags, pushing this number back down to kind of where the look-ahead line was here at 5.5, maybe a little bit higher than books would have anticipated. But considering what we last saw from the Jaguars, you have yourselves a 5.5-point spread where perhaps for the second week in a row, people are ugly betting the Jags. I'm leaving this side to be. I expect points aplenty. On the Houston side, they're going to be without Jimmy Ward, which I think can hurt it. But also, This is bounce back Stroud before it's born. We have data. Allen, Mahomes, all these different quarterbacks where we know Burrow. Hey, listen, if they were bad last week, here comes the next week. Stroud is coming off of probably the worst game of his young career when you consider everything. I think they can absolutely let it fly in this one, especially with Jacksonville's linebacker core torn to pieces heading into this one. I love points in the AFC South matchup.
You might be selling me. Now, they played 2 games last year, 24-21, and they had 54 in the first meeting. So that would get you through the 44.5 today in regards to that. I reluctantly, and I say reluctantly, take the Jags in regards to this matchup because it is a divisional opponent. They were a public dog on Monday night because they started 0-2. Feel like a lot of people got abused in regards to that. They look so bad. People are selling them, the franchise, Peterson, dead man walking. I'm willing to take one last shot at this situation. And I told you in regards to before the show started, right? They've lost 8 games, Trevor Lawrence has. The last team they beat was the Houston Texans last year. So, again, maybe you get their best effort. We get through the total, but I would take the 5.5 points, Donnie. And I'm also on Lawrence over the 22.5.
Here's the tough part about Houston, right? You take a look at Tank Dell, not going to play today. Young superstar wide receiver can get deep here. Nico Collins is going to play. He's more likely to not finish this game than finish it with a hamstring injury, which then brings us back. Let's lean on Mixon, who was fantastic in game number 1. He's not there either. So I do think there is a price point here that you're saying, all right, can Houston win the football game? Yes. Under 7 now. Maybe just take the points and watch this one play out. But sometimes I like to say, how is Jacksonville going to win this game? And I look at Travis Etienne, 49.5 is his rushing prop. Put it this way. He goes under that, they don't win this football game. If he goes over that, there's a chance that they might not win this football game. I would look at Travis Etienne. We said Jones opened up the show, 100 yards last week. Why can't Etienne get 15-plus carries and get 75, 80 yards in this game? Why not?
It's my kryptonite. Yours too last year.
Well, I also think, Donnie, Jacksonville's just chasing their tail a little bit. Like, I understand what you're saying, but also a world where Doug Peterson comes out and throws from the word go, it wouldn't necessarily stun me in this game. I'm not sure it would be a mistake, actually, if that's what he did. Let's get to the Jets-Broncos game. Again, I think the Jets absolutely belong in this conversation. I think they're a little bit mispriced, actually, as the 5th best odds of that big 5, if you will, in the conference. I'd actually be willing to make arguments there that they are the best team in the AFC, as I've just watching this early play out here. I know I buy into the defense, and I think Rodgers has looked solid early season here, despite that I'm on Denver +8. We just saw the Jets lay 6 to, I think, what is a comfortably worse Patriots team. Little overinflation in the market, and not enough respect given for Denver going into Tampa Bay and winning the game the way they did, with Bo Nix getting better game to game to game. And their defense, all of a sudden, they're the second-best pass defense in football. I don't know how long it hangs. Patrick Surtain, DPOY conversation? Maybe so. I like the Denver Broncos here, catch at 8 points.
I'm with you, and the reason why is twofold. Again, they got abused last year by Zach Wilson, right? They lost that game by 11 points, that matchup, and we saw them step up as a 6.5-point dog against Tampa Bay. They ran the football. It was more of a controlled passing attack to keep Bo within the scheme. I think they run it. Lower scoring, Donnie. 8 points is a lot of points in this matchup. I can't see them not covering.
It is a lot. I do like the Jets in this game. I don't know if I want to go over a touchdown because I think that is that demarcation line you don't want to pass. But also, I'm looking for that backfield today for the New York Jets.
Yeah.
Breece Hall, your boy Braylon Allen. I got some little specials coming forward once we go over a couple of our prop bets moving forward. But I look for a ground attack. 126 yards per game the Denver defense is giving up on the ground. We might see a home run from Breece Hall, but also Braylon late in that game, 5, 6, 7 carries, maybe 30, 40 yards. Watch out, boys. Watch out.
We're getting ready to put the odds in motion here. The Offensive Rookie of the Year. We knew a conversation would be needed. Not only what we saw on Monday, but this Thursday, Malik Neighbors continues to impress. Where's the value? We'll break it down next.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, guys?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
The Offensive Rookie of the Year race is going to be a lot of fun this season. It's clear as day, and it lines up when you consider the NFL draft was loaded with superstars on the offensive side of the ball. 3 round 1 quarterbacks starting for their teams, plus superstars at the wide receiver position in Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. Preseason, the idea was Caleb Williams would be the man to beat. At plus 120, his talent going first overall and the outlook for the Chicago Bears saw him as the lead man. But all of a sudden, we started to see that number be encroached. Caleb struggling early on this season, and Marvin Harrison Jr. had as a breakout football game against the Rams. Through 2 weeks, he became the favorite in the market, with Jaden Daniels also encroaching a little bit out there in the space. If we look at where the numbers sit now, though, through 3 weeks of football, it is Jaden Daniels' award. Now, it's not done and dusted, but he certainly is the rightful favorite here. Malik Neighbors, though, I do think makes a really good argument of, hey, forget rookies. I'm the best receiver in this league right now. Let's start with those two LSU Tigers here, Lisi, of that 1-2 punch. Who should be the favorite?
I think it should be Jaden Daniels right now. And we talked about it on Monday night. Is because how he's elevated his game over the past couple of weeks. He's becoming more confident. He's starting to challenge defenses over the top. You saw the performance and the completion percentage, Donnie. I mean, that's 89% is phenomenal. If he can keep even 70% over the next, let's say, 6, 7, 8 games or the rest of the regular season, and you add in the running attributes that he has, it's going to be very difficult to take away that from Jaden Daniels, especially if they're winning games, Kev, right? If they're in contention, forget the NFC East, just for a wild card. If this team is close to 9 or 10 wins, Donnie, I just don't see, even if Malik Neighbors is an 1,200-yard receiver, if Daniels is doing it on the ground and through the air and his team is winning, how you don't make him the favorite.
We talk about it as extra credit, right? Why do you think that Jaden Daniels is a plus 125? And would it be different if they were 0-3 on the season, but he was still having a pretty good season? Probably not. They're 2-1, and they were in the national spotlight last time we saw him, and he was almost perfection in that game, which included that late third down touchdown, Joe. I know you were cheering loudly for it. Get the knee down there for McLaurin. But if we are being honest, is this now a time that we say as handicappers, you buy back in on Caleb Williams? That, minus that, plus 125, plus 250, now sits at a 7-1 or so price where you say, okay, I'm expecting good things to happen today against a Rams defense. You get your top wide receiver back in the game. Maybe he throws for more yards. I look at the wide receiver position. I say this, guys. Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr., both sensational, both can go off. But we're relying on quarterbacks to help us go off. When you're a quarterback, you decide who's going to go off and what those play calls are going to be, certainly coming in the football games. I'm a little bit more worried about Neighbors because it is Daniel Jones. I think Kyler Murray can go out there and spin it, buy some time, has a rocket arm downfield. So I do give a little bit of the nudge, but I'm not down on Malik Neighbors. I expected this coming into the season. Very good wide receiver. We'll see what we get at your quarterback. But from the quarterback position, I'm not throwing away Caleb Williams just yet at a 7-1 price. It's dropped greatly over the first 3 games. I think today has a chance to bounce back with a victory and a decent performance and cut that number back down to about 5-1 or less.
I think the way it lines up for Neighbors is Daniel Jones being his quarterback actually seems to be to his benefit because Daniel Jones is terrible, so he just has to key in on him, throw him the football every single time. The issue for Neighbors is he could not possibly be doing any more than he is and isn't the favorite because Jaden is 2-1. I am not saying Jaden doesn't deserve it. That's why I bet Caleb. I bet Caleb Williams because I expect the Bears to have a winning record, and it was not in on the rest of these teams. Maybe I'll be wrong on where Washington lands all in all big picture, but I think you make a great point, Donnie, on a buy low for Caleb Williams. Look at their matchup today. Favored against what is easily the worst pass defense in the NFL. Yards per pass attempt is nearly 10 for opposing quarterbacks. Nobody else is above 9 for the LA Rams. They allow the second worst passer rating to opposing quarterbacks there. It could be a splash day for Caleb. Funny enough, the same is true for Marvin Harrison Jr. Trey McBride out for Arizona. If Marvin Harrison sees double-digit targets against the Commanders, who actually are the second or maybe the worst pass defense, opposing quarterbacks' top passer rating, yards per pass attempt, it's Washington, who's the second worst to the LA Rams. I think there's a lot of room today, unless Daniels goes to 3-1, for a huge shift on either Marvin or Caleb to jump right back in up top.
And that's why I was going to say, out of the receivers' Neighbors, I would take a shot on Harrison because if he can obviously step up, right, 130 receiving yards 2 weeks ago, he had 64 last week and a touchdown. If he can now elevate and all of a sudden Arizona is in contention for a wild card, he's the added dimension, right? They didn't have that last year. They were a 4-win football team. Kyler comes back. Now he has his main target and main weapon, and he's putting up dynamic numbers. I think he would get the edge over Malik Neighbors in terms of that situation, especially if New York is under 500. So that's where, if we're talking on that board in terms of the top 5, outside of Daniels, I would only take a shot for me on Marvin Harrison because, again, I'm down on the Bears as a whole, not Caleb. And obviously Malik Neighbors playing for the Giants, that's another cause of concern.
Yeah, you're trying to buy into these prices, too, because they're going to fluctuate weekly at this point. So it's almost like you're handicapping this morning on a Sunday going, boy, can I get a good performance out of my guy to move up? Because just as we talk about Marvin Harrison, a plus 550 price in that awards market, love him to score a touchdown today. Bet him at plus 110 price here. And I also think Kyler Murray has a good performance. So sometimes you can look forward, which is the same thing. Caleb Williams 7-1, I think has a good day today, which means that number should be lower by the time we wake up tomorrow.
We're going to hit those 2 games specifically a lot more coming up. So let me ask this. Anybody outside of the top 4 you want?
I was going to say, what if Bo Nix somehow gets the victory today?
100%.
Right? So now they have 2 wins. He's strung together. He's not putting up dynamic numbers, but his team is now winning. Yeah. At that price where he is, and I think it's
30-1.
30 to, I mean, that's like a lottery ticket in that regard.
He beats the Jets today. It's 10-1 or less.
Right.
I would say that's where that number would be, Donnie.
Me, Michael Penix Jr., 130-1. I'm just going to throw a couple dollars down on it, and all I'm doing is saying, as Kevin likes, look.
No, easy. All right.
Yeah.
See, now
you got him started.
I was with you the whole way, and then you start doing that. The one thing that is really, really interesting for me, Brock Bowers at 33-1, Devontae Adams out. There's too much smoke around them. We're not trading Devontae Adams. Like, nobody thought you were trading Devontae Adams. Oh, so you're going to trade Devontae Adams.
6 months now.
Hey, something to keep your eyes on. We'll be right back with you here on SportsGrid.
right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Don?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than game time decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in Pro Football Today. Meatball conversations happening that didn't involve me, believe it or not, during the commercial break.
Meatball.
Let's get into these games that involve these superstar rookies. We'll begin with Caleb's Bears hosting the Rams as a field goal favorite. Earlier in the week, 2.5s were out there in the market. Those are all gone, though, as the Chicago bets have certainly rolled in. Though I know you told me, Donnie, that the public, it appears, is all over the Rams in this matchup. Is that right?
I guess they're just not believing in the young rookie quarterback himself. But also, let's keep in mind, what did we love about the Bears coming into the season? It was the quarterback we thought could flourish because guys like C.J. Stroud before him performed well. And it was like, okay, we'll see. A lot of hype coming in, Heisman Trophy winner. Then all of a sudden, his top wide receiver goes down. They can't move the football. They're actually playing decent defense. I think it has a chance to change today, Kevin. As you pointed out, the Rams defense, not so good. You get your top wide receiver back in Keenan Allen, who's supposed to play today. Things should look a little bit better than what we've seen over the first couple starts.
Can I just quickly ask you, though, something, Don, as our resident weatherman here? Because this total, it appears to continuously be getting pounded right now. I'm seeing flat 40s out there in the market. This thing, I believe, opened up at around 47. I can't imagine they're, we love the way the Rams defense stepped up there. Is there horrible weather in Chicago?
Here's the best part about
Wrigley Field?
Yeah, it's 70 degrees today. No rain in the forecast. What is Chicago known for? What is their moniker? The Windy City. 13, 14 miles an hour? This is a beach day in Chicago. What are we worried about?
Yeah, I'm not going to touch this total. I will say this,
I've been known as false. He's talking himself out of it right now.
I've been known as Joe Poe, right? So, I know the numbers suggest a lot of people are on the Rams, but I'm going on my early assessment on not Caleb, but more importantly, Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears. I never believed they were an 8.5-win football team in preseason with Caleb Williams. I still believe that. They struggled last week. Caleb did break out with over 360 yards. We saw Roma Dunze get involved with over 100 yards as well, the touchdown. I just believe that you got the better coach in terms of Sean McVay. You got the better quarterback, the more experienced guy in Matt Stafford. And I know their defense is atrocious, but even though it's an early kick, I think they win this ballgame. The way they won last week, I think they'll be able to carry it through. I'm just not sold on Chicago big picture.
I'm more in on Chicago. I also think, listen, give the Rams, McVay, Stafford, all the credit in the world, but I think it was Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Bell dropped what would have ended their season. That ball was going to put them right inside field goal territory. What does this number look like if they hold on? That was a 14-point deficit. Yeah. Again, give them a lot of credit for coming back. But also, when we talk about the Rams' injuries, we're always the offensive line, and that's true. They also have secondary issues, and it's why their pass defense is so atrocious. I'm in on Roma Dunze today, 39.5. I sneaky think he might be this team's wide receiver one. I know Keenan Allen is back. Why is his prop higher than Rome Odunze coming off a 100-yard breakout game? Let's not forget, I don't think Rome is really live in the Rookie of the Year race. It's too crowded, right?
Right.
But Rome Odunze is a superstar of the neighbors Marvin ilk entering into this draft process here. I think his number's way too low at 39.5.
No, it's a great look. I mean, they were, and his dad was calling out Caleb. I don't know if you know that in regards to
like that.
I do. Well,
you agree with him?
Yes. Look at this. Throw this out.
Retweet.
Right. But let me ask you this. I mean, because this is when I look at an early week assessment, right?
Yep.
This line was not 3 when they put it out Sunday night. It was a 1.5, 2.
Yeah.
I mean, early kick, right? West Coast team going to the East Coast or, Midwest in terms of that, right? And then you have a team that's just terrible on defense. Why isn't it 3? Soldier Field, home field advantage.
Well, it is 3 now.
It is 3 now, but it didn't open as 3. When they established the line, they made it 1.5.
Yeah, because one team was coming off of beating the Niners, and the other team had just lost in Indianapolis. And I think they overreacted and they got smashed. That's how it goes sometimes.
Outright today.
Okay.
Outright.
You want me to get to this Cardinals game here?
Yeah.
As much as I want to hit to the Bears backfield, but we'll get lost. We'll do that later.
Roshan.
Cardinals, Commanders. There's a lot of injuries in this game. Sneaky, though, including the front for Arizona's banged up. I love Brian Robinson Jr. in this game. He's my favorite prop, over 66.5 yards. I'm on him anytime touchdown as well, because you also have the Austin Eckler injury. I think he could be in line for 20 carries here in this football game. Give me Brian Robinson Jr. over 66.5 yards.
Arizona gave up $188, right, to Detroit last
Gibbs
week?
and Monty both at 80
so
plus.
There you go. I mean, plays right into it. I actually like Washington with the points, but I like the over.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what I'm going to get out of Washington after that big performance on Monday night. Do we keep the pedal to the metal here and stay aggressive? If we do, you look at that 49.5, and it makes some sense. I love Kyler Murray over 1.5 touchdown passes today. And also, who's going to catch one of those? Marvin Harrison Jr. today. He's got to be that red zone target. No Trey McBride, as you pointed out.
Maserati Marv, who also sneaky might be slow. We know Lisi believes in the Commanders. What about these 3-0 teams? Who does he believe in? We'll find out next.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I'm ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.